All right, so here is the original tattoo. And you can see down there on the forearm what I was talking about, how those reds are just too warm. That's not the only issue. There are design issues as well, meaning that there are a lot of patterns, a lot of images, a lot of shapes that are competing. But what I'm going to do here is try to establish a hierarchy. And since what I see the most is the turtle on the forearm, that's what I want to focus on. So let's go ahead and get started. So before I go in and try to knock those reds back, I'm going to do a handful of other things that I think will help to establish that hierarchy. First thing I'm going to do is to push contrast by putting my darkest darks in the turtle in the foreground, and I'm going to start with the edges. I'm building up those lines on the outside edges just to kind of lift that thing forward a little bit. And a lot of times, just bumping through those edges and hitting your blacks is enough, but it's also a little bit deceptive. What you're seeing right now as I line the head here and it looks like it jumps forward is that we're looking at fresh black on top of multiple year old color. So of course it looks a lot bolder, but once that settles in, you're going to lose some of that effect. So while it's helpful to go through and push these edges and push this contrast, you have to keep in mind that it is going to settle in a little bit, and that alone is probably not going to be enough to solve the problem. Going in and just kind of hitting some of my darks in the textures of the face here. I want to get my greatest contrast in the turtle. Now I'm going through and I'm starting to shade out on the shadow side a little bit. Another thing that I had noticed as I was working on it was that the light source was a little bit unclear to me. For instance, there's a strong shadow in the neck of the turtle, but it doesn't really translate to, say, like his chin or even to that back flipper, his back leg, or whatever you call them on turtles. It seems like his head should be casting a shadow on that back flipper, and it's not. There's some light that's kind of jumping forward, and it just makes the shapes look a little bit off. It's a little bit confusing. So I'm going to go through and kind of reinforce those shapes, and I'm just kind of thinking like, all right, this head, this neck is just kind of a cylinder. So if I were to shine a light coming from the left side of the cylinder, how would that light, or how would the cylinder respond to that?